DCG operations. I thought my colleague, Member of Parliament, Honorable Senator, had used the Manda language to try and get to where we are. DCG crime. Was there an investigation done in terms of knowing who was deployed, whether they were police or not? Will you take off, please?
Yes.
Because nobody knows who these people are. Now we want to ask the crime boss.
I swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the truth. So help me God.
Ma'am, you are the Deputy Commissioner in charge of crime.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
And we have a group of police officers and army vehicle and AK rifles that descended on Marangi resources, which the police don't know about. How far have you gone with investigations?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. In crime, we say the one who alleges should prove it. But anyway, I'll just give you a brief background in concurrence to what the acting CGP was saying. There are two scenarios here, or let me say three. When we came here, we were told to give oral evidence on Jenyame, and this is what we came prepared for. And then secondly, when it comes to the operations in Chidhakwa, these have been spanning from 2005 until, I don't know, in the past few years, because these are ongoing operations. But within those operations, there are some operations which now appear to me that we didn't know about them. So I think these are the ones which the acting CGP is talking about. For example, the one where you're saying there's a group of police officers who stormed Marange Diamonds and came out with votes. That is number one. And then the Jenyame issue. But the ongoing operations from every now and then, those they take place, though I'm not in the operations department. So, as to what the acting Commissioner General alluded to earlier on, if you are very specific on which one we should comment on, we are very prepared. Is it the Jenyame issue? Is it the Marange issue where we are saying there are some people who went and took some votes? Because those who are alleged to have done that are in here. This is why earlier on, Deputy Commissioner General Matibiri said, there is an officer who is serving, who could be part of some of those operations, who is prepared to give oral evidence.
I think in terms of the company, we agree.
Yes.
We are talking about the operations where people were deployed, and we keep saying that. This is the international community watching all this. And the president is saying Zimbabwe is open for business. So what we're saying to the international community, to everybody in Zimbabwe, is that police are deployed and nobody knows where they come from. And this is the truth. And you are the commanders of the police in this country. And surely the president is working hard to ensure that investment comes into the country. But investment cannot come into a country where there's no rule of law. The police are the custodians in terms of the enforcement of the law. But they're also seen. And while they are seen being deployed to an area where investment is coming, and you heard what Mr. Mutasa said, which will also need you to respond to, in terms of how 3 cars with the cops were there. He was asked to surrender keys belonging to where the diamonds are. They've never seen the diamonds. We need also a response pertaining to that. So these are the specific issues that we seem to be responding to. And unfortunately, and I must say this, you seem to also be taking advantage of the former Commissioner General who's not here, who, unfortunately, if he knew in life that the same people that he worked with are the ones who are not able to account, and now you want to push it back onto him. But the police is an institution. Whether the former Commissioner General is here or not, the institution of the police remains, and it remains with people. And there is absolutely no reason of thinking that failure to answer this exonerates the police as an institution. It's an institution. It's not about personalities, it is an institution. This is something that Honorable Msami is asking, that these troops were deployed. We've asked you to bring the officer commanding for more stable. Because what we are then saying is that we need now to go further and identify those police officers, the vehicles, the commanders. You see, this is what we're now getting to. And who is it exposing? Because clearly we don't know the people, as they Zimbabwe or not, and the law enforcement agents have failed to identify or to accept that they were police officers who may be employed, and within their ranks they cannot investigate themselves. And we were assured by Commissioner General Matanga that he would look into it and he would come and tell us to move forward. The officer in charge of the station is admitted to that. Whether you deploy him or not, but it's under oath, he said yes, there were troops involved. And there is no man on the ground who can lie. But then the superiors are still saying they were not. The Minister of Mines clearly said that we did ask for the police to come in. And the police came in. And that answer is still not being answered in terms of where did the troops come from, who deployed them, even at the DTZ mine, which had a license. There were also 880. If you don't know what happened, I'll also give them a chance to also tell you what they came face to face with. Maybe that would help you even understand more, even some of the names of the commanders who were spearheading this. So, DCG, I think without wasting much time, it is important for us to make progress by you telling the committee exactly whether you knew about these police officers or we do not know, and then we know that Zimbabwe is unsafe in terms of investment because the law enforcement agents will never protect your interests.
Thank you very much. At no point are we taking advantage of the absence of the then Police Commissioner General. But we are simply saying when you are the Commissioner General, you are at liberty to appoint anyone within the 50,000 organization to do specific functions. And this is exactly what happened. Unfortunately, when he did this, he did not inform us. And I don't think it's an offense that he skipped us. Probably he saw that our plate was full and decided to assign other officers to do certain things. So we are not in any way taking advantage of his absence. And Honorable Chair, there are so many people you invited, serving and former serving police officers. You know why you invited them. And we are saying they are here. Why don't you pose those questions to them? We have indicated to you that as far as Vinyame is concerned, we know absolutely nothing. And in fact, we are just being too generous to be talking about these things. When you are summoned and there is a reason for you being summoned, you only attend to questions that relate to the summon. And please, your summon is talking about the operations of Vinyame, and we are making it abundantly clear that we know nothing about it.
I think you are probably in the wrong profession. Why don't you become a legislator? Because I think you now want to educate us on the summons, and that when you're summoned, you only respond to certain issues. I thought you being a police officer would say, once you accuse me of having stolen a pen, but I also give more information which indicate I'm a murderer. Don't you go all the way? I thought as a law enforcement agent you would know that if the person is shy, but you seem to now want to lecture us on you've only summoned us on these issues and we cannot go beyond that. I think when you come before us, it's important for you to understand that we are open to asking any question which has oversight. We can even say to you, why have you not arrested Zimra? Because they are corrupt. That's also a question which falls under the things ZRP in terms of being law enforcement agents. So you are misinformed when you're telling us that you only respond to issues that are someone no Commissioner, that's not how we operate. These issues, there are so many questions which come as we proceed. And I think be guided by the chair, and I think it would assist in us making progress. The reason why we are asking that question, and members of Parliament, is the Commissioner General promised us that he would investigate and come and tell us. We are not saying this because we're witch hunting. He came before us under oath and said, you are telling me this for the first time? Let me go, give me 7 days. He's the one who asked for 7 days, member of the committee. Is it not true? Give me 7 days so that I go and find out and I'll report to you whether police officers were deployed and how and who was responsible. So we are not asking this from an uninformed position. We are asking this because he had said he would bring information before us. So we thought that with you coming here, you would have that information before us. We will move to, unless there are any other issues that need clarity, we need to get going because there are more issues that need to be done with. In terms of the company, there is the company secretary who is here. The company secretary will take off. But you also have not responded to the crime, because that's crime really more than anything else. Commissioner General, are you aware of the crime or what happened to Mr. Munyeza?
Chair, that's exactly why I asked the Secretary to make explanation, because he happens to know what happened exactly, and he would be in a position to adequately inform you.
No, the reason why I'm asking that, it's a crime, and he had said he'd written letters to various authorities. So was that crime investigated? That's what I'm asking. This is not a company issue. There is also the aspect of a criminal issue which would be the reason in what he was narrating. Are you aware of that? Okay, thank you. May the company secretary take oath and respond. May you also come in front, please.
The company secretary is coming. Can I ask a different question?
Sure.
To Honorable Bonyongwe? DG, are you aware of a guy by the name Sempa?
He asked a question that do you know any individual called Sempa? A Chinese businessman. We ask this because there are people who gave oral evidence saying that he was working with the state security and he was doing a number of issues. I think that's why this question is being asked.
Okay, thank you very much. I was looking at you just to get a cue on Mr. Chairman whether I could proceed. Yeah. Yes, I do. I am aware of him.
Okay, we may finish the question. Yes.
If you can just explain to us briefly, how did you come to know him, and also your visits with him to the president, former president?
Mr. Chairman, can I please ask for some context, I think, to be given to these questions? He is somebody who I know, but now that might go also into the area of some of the CIO operations which were conducted when I was the DG of the CIO. And on that matter, when the summons came to me, I raised some issues with all the way to the Speaker and also Vice President Muhadi, who was Minister at some point and is now responsible for national security. And the point here, which I am getting at, is really to try and distinguish, I think, the subject of the summons from perhaps issues which delve into CIO operations. Because I was instructed that if it becomes matters to do with a CIO operations, then that's a matter of national security. And then I might not be able to venture into that area. I don't know, Mr. Chairman. This is a matter which was raised with the Speaker and the Vice President, as I indicate, was briefed about the matter and directed me on not venturing into national security issues, but to confine to these issues to do with the summons is specifically given to me. Thank you.
I think it's fair. I think the Vice President is coming, who's in charge of national security. We can equally ask him some of these questions since he's the custodian for national security. I think it's only fair that you probably will leave that to the Vice President, but I think you did acknowledge that you will not stand power, and I think now recommendation, that's information that you need. Thank you. Has it taken off?
Thank you, Chair. Madam. Muzangu rukwenda kuna DCG Matibe. Kuti nada kuti ndidziso kuti panhauro yetauro yekuti kune timu yemaprisa akanotora makey vachitora chisimba uyezve pazotaura kunze ndezve pane vanonzi vachani vakaita futi vanga vari mupurisa zvakare vaikomana mapurisa vakakanganisa makasunga vakatongwa zvangoda kufanana here nevava vakaita pakupara mhosva yakaitwa nevava zvakafanana nezvo vachazvo kuti mukaona mogoro vasunga futi.
Chair, zvinhu zvinofananidzwa unenge uchizviziva kana uchiziva chimwe chete chacho ungachifananidze nechausingazivi.
I swear that the evidence I'm going to give will be the truth, nothing else but the truth. So help me God.
You have been nominated as a point person to the diamond mining operations ZRP concession. Can you enlighten us more on those operations, who the directors were, the joint venture, how you complied, and the proceeds we went to ETC?
First of all, my name is Kenneth Maodzwa. I'm from the Police Legal Department. Let me just put the record straight before I go into the merits of what you want to hear from me. I'm going to respond briefly to some of the issues that have been raised by Mr. Itayu Gomunyeza. I'm not going to argue with him or contradict him on many aspects, but there's some aspects which I just want to put the record straight. But secondly, I'm here specifically for Jinyami, not about the entire operations in Charlesworth. That's not part of my mandate. But allow me through your chair, with all due respect, to make a few remarks at the top, and then I will open it up. You see, if this Parliamentary Portfolio Committee wants to remain meaningful, purposeful, and relevant, it must not position itself narrowly from the background and the history of how the security services and forces of this country engaged and embarked in mining operations in Chiazo. That is very important. That history. I'm not trying to blame. Sorry, I'm not blaming the party. All right.
Can I help you, sir? You are a lawyer.
I am.
Are you aware of this constitution?
Correct, I am.
Are you aware of section 107 of the constitution?
127.
107.
107?
Is what does it say?
Unless I make reference to it. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry, I'm not blaming this
Are you
parliament.
aware of section 109 of the constitution?
Look,
No, I'm asking because we want to follow due process. I read what you're saying, but I want to guide you according to the constitution. You said you're a lawyer, so I'm asking. For the point of doubt, are you aware of section 109 of the constitution, what it says? Because if you don't know, then I'll read it out to you, and probably you realize that the remarks that you made, you might end up withdrawing them.
okay.
Are you aware of section 109?
No.
Okay,
But
okay, let me help you.
let
Read
me.
section 109.
Can I? If you ask me to withdraw what I've said, I'm pleased to do so for purpose of progress.
I think, are you aware of 119?
Okay, you can read the sections to me. Please.
No, I am asking, you seem to be very emotional. You want to tell us how to do our work. And you want to now educate us. Now we want to educate you in terms of the law, that we do the work constitutionally in terms of the law. Now I want to cite you, because I don't want you to think that this committee, which has, we are bound by the constitution, which you and I are bound. And as a lawyer, you say, thank you very much, this constitution is doing a wonderful job, but it needs to be A, B, C, D. But not for us to tell us something which is totally out of the constitution. But I'll read 119 to you so that we are together. I'll read the role of Parliament. Number one, Parliament must protect this constitution and promote democratic governance in Zimbabwe. 1. 2, Parliament has power to ensure that provisions of this constitution are upheld, and that state and all institutions and agencies of government at every level act constitutionally and in the national interest. I want you to ensure that you know that one. At every level, there are government departments here, state-owned enterprises, to ensure national interest. We are the third arm of the state, where there's the judiciary and the executive. This is the executive, and there's Parliament, which is the legislature, which is oversight. I'll also say to you on third, for the purpose of subsection 2, all institutions and agencies of the state and government at every level are accountable to Parliament. When you are here and you are an institution of the state at every level, you are accountable to Parliament. So for you to now tell us that we seem to be doing things which are out of line and unconstitutional, I think I'll keep reading more, so that today you leave this Parliament knowing the powers of Parliament. I'll also go to 299. I can see you are not writing. We shall also teach you the Constitution today. Days are gone when you thought you legislators who did not read. You shall have legislators who tell you their role. 299. Parliamentary oversight on state revenue and expenditure. Did you get that? State revenue and expenditure.
Correct.
Parliament must monitor and oversee expenditure by the state and all commissions and institutions and agencies of government at every level. Do you really get that?
Correct.
There is a comma there. I'm going to continue. including statutory bodies, government-controlled entities. Does ZRP fall under government-controlled entity? Sir? Yes or no?
It does.
Thank you. And metropolitan councils and local authorities, in order to ensure that all revenue is accounted for. We are talking about diamonds, which are a state resource, revenue for the country. And we're here to know where did these resources go to. Do you have anything further to say after this, or I report to you? We are quite satisfied with the role of this committee in Parliament. And then you can now go to then account now, in terms of that resource that belongs to a government entity, Jinani, how you operated it.
Thank you very much. I hear you. Thank you so much. But if you'd listened to what I wanted to say, you could have thanked me at the end. I wanted to assist. But
so
anyway,
responding to the resource that ZRP had under the diamond concession, the company where your company secretary, what happened to the deeds?
Okay,
The
fine.
mining operations, who did you declare them to? From a government's point of view, did the ministry know about that? Because the ministry certainly did not know about that. And we are here to make sure that whatever happens at every level falls in line with that ministry. Thank you.
Okay, fine. First of all, let me start by saying Chidhakwa. Chinyame falls in Chidhakwa Diamond area. All operations in Chidhakwa are strictly reserved to government. No mining operations will be done without the knowledge of government, due under the auspices of its arm, the ZMDC. I was deployed to Chinyame on 8 May 2013. I was not the principal in the police force.
Who was the principal?
The former police commissioner general.
The former police commissioner general?
Yes.
There were many. There was Nkurajisha.
Dr. Augustine Churi.
Dr. Augustine Churi, thank you.
On 8 May 2013, this company, Chinyame.
Do you have a letter to that effect appointing you to that board?
If you ask me to go and look for it, I think I can find it in my library.
No, do you have a letter?
I was appointed by letter, yes.
Can you give this letter to Parliament, not today, by the end of the week, so that we can have sight of it?
I'll have to look for it, but can I explain to you about this letter, what happened?
No.
So that the committee understands when you say give it to me.
I think what I'm trying to do is, as you're moving on, I just want certain things to go out of the way. First of all, you say you are appointed. So it's only proper ask by who. And then I also ask in terms of oversight and accountability, was there a letter?
Correct, there was a letter.
There was a letter. So that's what I'm asking. Are you able to finish us with that letter by the end of the week? You leave it with the thin clerk of Parliament. And then we can proceed.
I wanted to respond to your question whether I can furnish you with a letter or not, because I don't want to make false promises. But anyway, I will try my level best to bring the letter to your attention. When I was deployed to Chinyame on 8 May 2013, I was deployed as the company secretary due to my legal background to look into the legal matters of the company. When I arrived at Chinyame, things were a little different. The company had a lot of challenges. It appeared like it was suffering from liquidity problems. There was no environmental impact assessment certificate. The only certificate that was obtained in November 2013. Operations were almost grounded to a halt. In other words, there was no investment license from the Zimbabwe Investment Authority because in order to have this license, there are certain requirements that you need to fulfill, such as proof of income, the EMA impact certificate that I've talked about. These things, there was no record. Even when I checked the joint venture agreement entered into and between Bill Minerals and ZMDC, it was breached. There was like no joint venture agreement at all, because the commitment investment amount of 5 million that was supposed to be injected within a certain date, there was no record. The company had no bank account, no joint venture Zimbabwean bank account. The only bank account was opened in November, CBZ Borodale. There were no records of what was going on. The private security company was on strike. The workers had not been paid. The water pipeline had been abandoned by the contractor because it had not been paid. Even NASA requirements had not been fulfilled. All statutory requirements were not in place. I made recommendations to try to put the structure in place. It's unfortunate that most of the management were new people, just as I was. The managing director, Mr. Obert, who represented the interests of the investor, was also a new arrival, and a few detail and guys from ZMDC. We all knew. So there were no operations, but there were some diamonds that had been mined and that had been mined before my arrival. Remember, this started 2011. I just been there on the scene 2013. So the board set on a certain date because they wanted to sell the parcel of diamonds. There was a resolution on 25 June 2013.
Sorry, just for
yes.
Who was the board? Who were the board members?
The board members was the then chairman of Ginyami, Dr. Manson Mnaba.
Dr. who?
Dr. Manson Mnaba.
Yes.
He was also a board member.
So that is disappearance.
I'm sorry, I don't need some water. If I need water, I'll tell you.
So what I want...
In fact, through your chair, so sorry.
Mr. Mount, what I want
yes,
is for us to have a clear understanding. You know, the board, when you go to the board, who are the board members, how many were they? It is important. So who are the board members? You've spoken about the chairperson, who else?
I'll tell you about the board members, but let me just make a remark to the last comment that I don't like the implication that is built into it. I don't need water. Okay, fine. The board members, like I said, was the chairman of the company, Dr. Manson Mnaba. There was can someone come and attend to this? There seems to be a problem. It's okay. Okay, fine. Can I? All right. The board members, there was, you see, there was Mr. Msarara. I can't remember the first name, but if you give me time, I can check what his first name is. I'm not so sure whether that is his first name, but I need to check, you know. This is very important. There was Mr. Magwizi. I can't remember his first name. There was also the legal advisor from the Ministry of Mines. I think she's called Nolwaz. She's a lady. I can't remember the names, but I have these names. There was, who else was there? There was Dr. Dante. He's Ghanaian. There were quite a number. But give me time. Why don't you give me time and I'll bring you all these names? I have them. That is, if you like it. Yeah, because there were quite a number. I was the company secretary. I know about these people. Mr. Nolwazi, there was someone called Nolwazi.
Sorry. I think when we were trying to understand, to see where we're coming from, what we're trying to get from you in terms of order. What we're trying to get from you is the company. What was the company the shareholding of the company, because we want to see how the police were involved, what was the stake in that company, who were the directors, and then from there, other issues come through as we go on, because that's important for us to understand. Was it did it comply with the Companies Act? So we're just checking to ensure that everything is in order. At no point are we going, but when I'm cutting is because I don't want us to go too far without seeking clarity on a certain matter, which is important. So if you're able to tell us as company secretary who the directors were, the shareholders, percentage, that then helps us move forward in terms of understanding what the company is about and go to the management and so forth.
Thank you, Chair. Is the response to you, and is it also a response to issues that you have brought in here for? I ask, Chair, he should not unnecessarily put pressure on himself. He should take it easy, take a deep breath, give it to your all. Don't unnecessarily put pressure on yourself. Don't stampede on yourself. 1 point at a time. I feel you've got some unseen pressure on yourself. Please, this is Parliament, and nobody is going to kill you. No one is going to intimidate you. Do not unnecessarily put pressure on yourself. These are human beings, and no one is armed.
Yeah, may you proceed accordingly. I think it's true. You can just cool down and I can see where you came there to a lot of issues, but relax.
Thank you very much. That's myself. There's no unnecessary pressure on myself. Yes, you were talking about the directors. Did I answer your question?
So who was representing the police as directors, and what was the shareholding?
The only joint venture agreement that I happened to see was the joint venture agreement between ZMDC and Bill Minerals. And just also, if I may add that as company secretary, I was never handed over the company documents. There was virtually nothing, no records at all. That document is the only document that I saw which binds ZMDC and Bill Minerals.
Sierra 14.
Yes, what about it?
Sierra 14.
Sorry?
Can you talk to us about the Sierra 14?
The Sierra 14 for Ginyame.
Yes.
Yes, the Sierra 14 for Ginyame had a number of directors. If I just make a reference to it, I think I have a copy here with me.
Okay, you see, maybe we can give me 2 minutes to just explain to you. We're trying to establish the mining activities of the ZRP through a special purpose vehicle. So my understanding is that there must have been a special purpose vehicle that then got in with these partners that then worked with government. So that's what we're trying to establish, and I'm not getting you, because where does ZRP come in? Because what we want is the stake belonging to ZRP. What was ZRP's stake in all this? How? Are you understanding what I'm...
Yes, look, if you've been listening, when I said I'm not the initial company secretary for Ginyame. This Ginyame was established 2011. I only got into the scene on 2013. I never got any document to be able to respond to that question. Even the handover between the previous company secretary was not done to me, it was done to the managing director. So the shareholding issue to me was still a mystery, even up to now. I had no document. I never saw it.
So, but you were told to be the company secretary.
Sorry?
If you're a company secretary and you don't know the shareholders, and you don't know what shareholders are there, so which company are you representing?
You see, if you look at Ginyame, don't look at Ginyame the way you look at any other company that you know. If you do that, then you will miss the issue. Circumstances at Ginyame were mixed up. There was a plethora of problems. Things were not straight. So I noticed you are looking at.
Maybe you can help us in terms of the name that the police were certainly using to be a partner in this. My understanding, Mr. Mliswa, is that there was a joint venture partnership. There was 50% government and 50%. You were part of that 50%. Okay, and then the police did a 20 in that 50%, right? They started from 5, 10, and 20. So who were the directors representing the police?
Mr. Chairman, sorry, through you, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I would also want to sympathize with Mr. Mawota. I don't think you would have much information at all, if anything at all. As he said that he joined at the tail end of the operation just before they ceased. So his information is very limited, and it is a time when the shareholders already speak, and some of us actually had been banned from Ginyame operations by the police. So he wouldn't. I was custodians of all documents. You find all government correspondences were always to me, because I'm the one who did the initial paperwork and everything else. So there was nothing you would have. That's on that bit. In terms of the representatives, there was Senior Assistant Commissioner Tanyiwa, Senior Assistant Commissioner Ndebele, and there was Assistant Commissioner Chibai.
Okay, so those were the police officers representing the interests of the police?
Yes, at board level, and then there were various in management.
Commissioner General, are you aware of his names on the police post?
Chair, I know them as serving and former serving officers, and they are in here.
Okay, so can we, are they all here?
Those three names, they are here.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you can they come to us?
Process, but unfortunately you did not see me. I was trying.
I was trying to just wait for a time like this.
Thank you, Honorable.
If you really in the hands of the Commissioner General, who he gave the task to was up to him, and there were some favored people who were given special instructions, and maybe one of those was favored to undertake certain special instructions. There's also a commanding of support unit Munesuishe, which we all know is responsible for going to ensure there's law and order in a very heavy-handed way. It's a good unit. It is a unit that we're very proud of when it comes to real criminals, not to those who are not criminals, but you want to hear those deployments and the way the company was operating. But more important, I'll start with the Assistant Commissioner again, with Commissioner Ndebele.
Retired Commissioner Ndebele.
Sorry, it is Commissioner Ndebele.
Retired.
Retired Commissioner Ndebele. So when you're senior assistant commissioner, you now become retired commissioner. Is that how it works now, DCG?
No, I was promoted to commissioner and then I retired.
Oh, then you retired. Okay, so you don't work at the army where when you retire, you're given a rank. Okay.
No.
Oh, Commissioner, retired commissioner, then I'll come at the end because you touch on the deployments and all that. You were part of this company, and can you tell us on the operations of the company and exactly how money was generated in terms of this issue which Mr. Mliswa also spoke about, how the police went and took the key where the diamonds were?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I've got a small request if you can allow me.
Proceed.
Okay. May I request retired Commissioner Tanganyiwa to answer that. He was the senior man who was responsible for all that we did by that time. Thank you.
No, unfortunately, here we don't work according to the rank and file. I'm here when we always want to lead this. So we ask you to say first.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Nyame started off to operate, or I will start from how we were appointed. We were appointed verbally, we were called by ex-Commissioner Chibage to say that the Commissioner General of Police then, Dr. Augustine Chiuri, wanted to brief us. We went together, myself, retired Commissioner Tanganyiwa and retired Commissioner Chibage, and we got a brief from the then Commissioner General to the effect that there was a mining concession in Chidhakwa that has been allocated, part of it, to Zimbabwe Republic Police, and we are going to form part of the board. So when we started off, we did a due diligence to the partners, those who were involved, some Ghanaians from Ghana, and also Mr. Mutasa, who is with us today. So we traveled off to Ghana. We did a due diligence with ZMDC personnel and MMCZ personnel and some chartered accountants. We went to Ghana, we did the due diligence, and we came back and we wrote our report to the effect that all what the Bill Minerals had were funds of their clients. We specifically stated that in our report, and they had no muscle to take to do the mining at Chidhakwa diamond mining. The report was forwarded, but we had no decision on whether to take them on board or not. They were approved to come on board, and when they came on board, they had no capacity. With the figures and things like that, I cannot recall how much they did, but I think Mr. Mutasa highlighted it to this house, how much they came in. We worked together. There was a first board that was there. And when, during the process of mining, they had problems mining at Chidhakwa, but no proper mining took place. They just did some samples to check, and those samples were about 1,000 or so diamonds, which were mined from Chidhakwa diamond mines, and those diamonds were there at Nyame, and also the diamonds later on they were taken to MMCZ. After the company had been liquidated because of lack of funds, to carry on the mining at the ground. During the process of mining, or during the process of being there on the ground, the board was changed. After Mr. Adamako, he came in, and the Bureau Minerals from Ghana, Williams, Ato, said that he was no longer interested in working with Mnyeza because they were the finances that they were sending. I don't know what was happening. This was just from grapevine to say that he was no longer interested in working with him. A board was set and a new board was put in place, minus Mr. Mnyeza. He was no longer involved in that board. And that board never did anything vital. The first board chairman that we had was Mr. Due. I heard he was from the army. He was our first board chairman. Then he came in, Mr. Mnawa, Dr. Mnawa. He was our new board chairman. But from what was happening on the ground, nothing much happened because of lack of resources. The DMS that is there, we understand Mr. Mnyeza had to buy it from South Africa through William Ato. I think they had an agreement on some certain percentages to buy that DMS. And we're having difficulties, a lot of difficulties in carrying out mining activities. I think that's what I can say for now.
I'm trying to understand that you were appointed verbally, Mr. Chidhakwa, the one that told you to be appointed. I went to see the former Commissioner General then to confirm the appointment. Is that what you say?
Point of correction, Honorable Chair. Ex-Commissioner Chibage just called us and we went to his office. I met ex-Commissioner Tanyanyiwa also there, and he said the CGP wanted to brief us. And we went to the office of the former Commissioner General of Police, and he told us verbally that we were going to work as board members at Chidhakwa Diamond Mining Company.
So there was no board resolution. There was a command that would come with a resolution. Mr. Chibage, just for the point of clarity, you gave the message as who? You told them that the Commissioner General had you come through Mr. Chibage while you take off Mr. Chivayo. You were a board member before I get to Mr. Tanyiwa, who have a lot to say. Can we hear, because when you're a board member, you certainly have to contribute to the board in one way or another. What was your specialty on this board?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I was not a board member per se, but then I was the company secretary. The CR14, which Chief Superintendent was referring to, it's a CR14 I'm aware of. Unfortunately, I cannot make reference to it because I am no longer in possession of it. Within the early stages of the coming up of the company, I was just instructed to resign, and I resigned. Be that as it may, I can still speak to the list on the CR14. But as it stands from the police, the shareholding was ZRP had 20%. I was not aware of the negotiated percentages. And the ZMDC had 50%, with Ghanaians and Mr. Mnyeza at 30%. That I can confirm.
He said to resign? By who and why?
I'm not aware of any reason, but I got a verbal instruction from former Commissioner Ndebele that the former Commissioner General, Dr Chuguri, had instructed that I should resign with immediate effect, and I did so.
So can we now confirm that the former Commissioner General was sort of a de facto owner of the company? Because it seems, as the Honorable Chair, everything is sort of revolving around the former Commissioner General. He was directing the press, he was directing everything. Even in terms of allowances, maybe he can even tell us whether he was also the one who was determining what sort of allowance he was supposed to be given. So can we say it was only him, and him only, who was holding all the ropes with regards to this diamond mining company?
Mr. Chairman, this is a takeaway item. In the profession of the police service, surely, how can a police officer of such a high magnitude, just told over a cup of tea that you must resign, then in the next 2 seconds you have resigned? How does it happen? How do you justify that?
I think it's a takeaway, like you said. I think can you respond to the fact that the Commissioner General former Commissioner General seemed to directly be in control of this, and with the evidence that you've just given us, is a word from him, you think it's not him, was it?
I think you will appreciate from the onset that ZRP is a hierarchical, rank-structured organization. So where a Commissioner General instructs, you can't think otherwise.
Okay, Honorable Quinn. How long were you in the board? Of the board?
To not tender, Honorable Chair, the position yataurwa na Mr Munyeza, it's exactly zvaiitika paground. Zvingaita kunge zvaita zvidiki-diki. It's because most of the times panga pasina activity. Pachiri kutanga ma preliminary zvekutanga-tanga kuti pave, it was rather the bush. Kurava kuti zvaiitika zvanga zviri very operational, like kugadzira marodzi, mvura, kuti pave ne report, exploration, paground pacho paimbova nei in terms of maybe madiamonds. So pasati pambotaurwa nenyaya yekuti taakumaina madiamonds, there was those preliminary activities.
As research being taken off,
I could proceed to do that now. I have not yet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, there's no smoke without a fire. I am former chairperson of the Transport Committee, and at some point there was some indication that some high-ranking police officers themselves had combis in some public transport, of which 65% of all public transport, including Shika, is not licensed, and it was of a grave concern. Would it have pointed to you, Mr. Chibage, as being one of those high-ranking police officers who owned humongous or a ubiquitous amount of transport, public transport, which might have led to your downfall with your superiors?
I swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth. Nothing else but the truth. So I will
just from
I think while I hear what colleagues are doing, I think it will come in the end. It's not really the most important part, but I think what is important from you, Mr. Chibagya, is that it's not a secret that you were the right-hand man to the Commissioner General. You were the Mnyaradzi Kereke to the Reserve Bank. That's not going to speak. So we are aware of that. I'm equally thinking victim of that. I must say, because I'm experienced, not that I have issues, but I think most of my arrest came from you. Saying that the Commissioner General had sent you, and when I went to the Commissioner General one day when I was provincial chairman, he says no, it was actually him abusing the office. That's for another day, but I'm saying this because he told me that when I then became close to him. He says no, he certainly was abusing, and that is the reason why I fired him. But moving forward, you certainly were fired by the former Commissioner General. So what led to you being fired when you're the blue-eyed boys, and whatever you said was the truth, nothing else but the truth? You were more powerful than the Commissioner Generals at the time, the Deputy Commissioner Generals. When they saw you, they had to salute, yet they were more powerful than you in terms of ranking. I said that because I knew the Deputy Commissioner Matipiri would react. But on a more serious note, you were certainly the Chief of Staff. The Americans would say Chief of Staff on all these issues. Can you elaborate further on how these were picked to be the directors without an official meeting of the police as an entity?
Thank you very much, Chair, for giving me the opportunity to appear before this committee. However, it's rather unfortunate that some of the comments emanating from the committee members, as well as yourself, Chair, resonate with what was published maliciously in 2013, for which I saw no reason to respond and left it to the Court of Public Opinion to judge. Because if a member is so corrupt to the magnitude that you're expressing here, and yet you had access to the Commissioner General and the DCGs, who are the custodians of police investigations, you have not done any docket, you have not taken me to court, but you continue to echo those malicious sentiments. It would be very unfair, but I will leave it for God to judge. To the situation at hand, I was the Chief of Staff, yes, and I worked in the office of the Commissioner General, carrying the rank of Commissioner of Police. Under me directly were a few divisions that did not go through the Deputy Commissioner Generals. These included security and protocol, the organization planning and development, and economic empowerment and surveillance, as well as the resource team. Of interest to this particular committee was the economic empowerment and surveillance, then led by Senior Assistant Commissioner Munjarengwi, retired. The major objective was to find ways and means of empowering the police in carrying out its mandate, because then the entire government system was really under siege economically. Because
just a minute. What is the role of Chief of Staff in the office of Commissioner General from a constitutional point of view? What all do one play?
The Constitution, as the mother or the principal law of the country, does not go into nitty-gritties of certain structures. It only establishes the office of the Commissioner General, who then has to structure how he wants to administer the organization for reasons of effectiveness and efficiency. So, when we developed, because I was part and parcel of the restructuring of the police force, when we developed this office, it was an upgrading from the staff officer, position of staff officer commissioner, who assists the commissioner in the administration of the office and coordinating activities. And when the then Commissioner General was sworn into office as the new or the inaugural Commissioner General, later on, this office of Chief of Staff was established, carrying the rank of Chief Staff of Commissioner of Police. But there were 5 commissioners of police, and I was the chairperson of that team, the National Support Group, that helped the Commissioner to administer, the Commissioner General to administer his programs. In his office, I was responsible for management of his office, advising him on special projects, assisting him to coordinate, and he could designate anything to me, which I would do. This included local tasks as well as international tasks, that is international relations with other police organizations, including Interpol. Indeed, to some, it might appear to be a very powerful position, but it's not the person or the position that is powerful. It's the activities that you'll be carrying out that are visible and impact on the people that you are dealing with, which will cause people to weigh or judge you, either positively or negatively. Those who benefited will look at it positively, but those who felt they were harassed will look at it negatively. But for the record, I never had any personal encounter with you, Honorable Chair, so it would be unfair for you to say I arrested you. Nevertheless, I'll proceed. So we're using this division of economic empowerment and economic surveillance. We explored various avenues to find ways how we could be self-reliant. And we looked at farming, we looked at gold mining and diamond mining. Whatever we could lay our hands on, we wanted to pursue that. We opened quite a number of shelf companies which we wanted to use. One of it was self-reliance company. Then, on the issue of mining, the person who had access to the Minister of Mines was the Commissioner General. But what I remember happened was that he asked me to come up with a list of officers, retired or serving, whom he could consider to assign as directors to various companies. I compiled a list of 10 names, amongst which then Senior State Commissioner Debele and then Senior State Commissioner Tanyanywa were included, and others retired. That paper was returned to me with the 2 names having been ticked in red. Then I was asked to call them. That was 2013, early 2013 or late 2012, if I remember. 2011, I think so. Then I was called by the CG to his office. We want to now start activating these things. I'm talking to Minister Mpofu, Minister of Mines. That's what he told me. So I want to have these people to brief them on how we want to carry out our activities. I called them as instructed, and I took them to the office of the Commissioner General, Dr Chombo. And he gave a briefing. We want to do this, we'll give you the nitty-gritties and so forth. Then we went out. I went back to my office, there I went. That was the last time I was involved in that. But thereafter, Dr. Churi was calling these officers directly, not through me. I only got to know about Ginyame in 2013. 2013, through Mr. Chanakira. He called me and said, but why are you ill-treating us? I said, ill-treating you where and how? Because he was also misinformed, just like you are, about me. Then I said, come, let's discuss. He came. He said, no, we are into partnership with you, police, and you are the big guy there. You are doing this, and we are being harassed. Our partners, one of them has been incarcerated, one has been banished outside the country, and we have put in a lot of money. He said, you are telling me history. I don't know anything about this. He said, no, it's true. Then I said, okay, wait. In his presence, I then called Dr. Chiwuri on the mobile, and he answered. It was on a Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. He answered. And I said, Chef, I've got someone here who is claiming that you are into, the police, meaning the police, are into a partnership of diamond mining in Chiazo. Are we doing any diamond mining now? And he said, that's lies. Who is that? But he was there. He was present. So I said, I was very much affected when I got this news. So I thought I should verify with you, sir, because I don't want to sweep under the carpet anything that would tomorrow undermine police credibility. Said, no, forget about it. If there's anything, I will tell you. You know, these things we should do together. Then I dismissed him. Later on, 30 minutes later or so, he called back the Commissioner General. Said, do you still have that guy? He said, no, he's left. Can you organize a meeting? Let's meet. He said, okay, I'll try and get him. I called him. Then we went for a meeting that evening at the office. And he said out everything that was happening. In the meeting, we were 5. The other 2 were Mr. Masimire Mboye and Farai Mutamangira, the lawyer. He reiterated everything that he had told me before. And I could see something was happening. Then, we discussed and I ironed out their differences. Then the CG called me and said, no, don't worry about this. There's nothing that is happening yet.
Because he just said I would see that something was happening. If you can just clarify so that at least we are...
Because what I'm saying is, now we had the Commissioner General, we had the Farai Mutamangira, the advisor to the Minister of Mines, we had the Chairperson of the MDC, and Blessimo Chanakira was there. They were concurring that there was an entity that was in operation, but I was not aware of it. So being in the office does not necessarily mean you are privy to everything that is happening. I just want to clear that. Later on, the CG said, no, don't worry, Chief of Staff. There's nothing yet, we are not yet operational. When things are ready, I will let you know, then you can do your management activities and you can have the oversight of the programs. That was that. This was early 2013. But what followed after that was a tirade of events that were very unpleasant for me. For the better part of 2013, I was not in the office. I was assigned to go around all provinces, supervising police activities, checking on the propos, the dispos, and I did that with due diligence with my team of other commissioners. Then we had elections. Just before elections, I had to go to Israel for a month. When I came back, I went straight. I was deployed to Manicaland and Mashonaland East to supervise elections. When I came back on the 3rd of August, I was received with a letter of transfer from the Commissioner General's office, abolition of the post of the Chief of Staff, and I was moved to the Office of Commissioner of Operations under DCG Matibiri. I didn't have to query that. Then I was in that office August, September, early October. The pressure around me became too intense. I was due to extend service beyond the age of 52 on the 3rd of January 2014. But what happened, particularly on the very first day or second day of October, then caused me to think otherwise. I was under pressure. I wrote and submitted my retirement request, an application for leave, immediate leave, which I passed through DCG Human Resources, then DCG Sibanda here. And you processed it within 2 days. My papers were accepted, and I went on leave. And my last working day was 31st December 2013. I was not fired. I was not dismissed. I duly received my terminal benefits. Those are malicious innuendos which were never verified by anybody. And I am an honorable pensioner. I'm available to help you with anything, but what we want is to work on facts, not on speculations or what we get from the press. Apparently, the person who was writing those articles in the press, was concerning, later on confessed to me that he was sorry, he apologized. He said the pressure and the things were coming from the hierarchy of the police. So that is what I know about this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think our focus here is not about cleansing Mr. Chimake. This forum is not for him to cleanse himself, he has to do it somewhere else. In this forum, we're dealing with them.
As long as they are not attacked, it must be fair on both sides. If you attack me, I will respond.
His point is valid. You see,
we have to take note that this is Parliament. I'm talking to the chairman, you cannot just intervene. You are not given the floor. So I think you have to put order, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I think, Mr. Chibagi, I think what is critical that Parliament is not blind to the fact that there was bad blood in the end. And we don't want this to be a platform where the former Commissioner General, it's time for people to attack him. When you worked with him, everything was good. We are not blind to. But what we wanted to establish was the role of the Chief of Staff in terms of the diamond issue, which you spoke about. The question was the revenue generated from all these economic activities. Where did they end up?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I gave this elaborate explanation, I was responding specifically to what you said, and specifically to what Honorable Luna said. I don't own a fleet of buses. I don't own it. No, I must declare it because it is stated and these gadgets are recording. Why should you oppress me?
No, but you are playing to the media.
I'm not playing to the media.
These guys are reporting. And what we are basically asking you, it was the role of the Chief of Staff. And then you explained from an economic point of view that you had issues, projects that you were running, mining is part of it. The Honorable Commissioner Ndebele and the team said that you came to tell them that they've been appointed to sit on this board. But now you seem to be exonerating yourself. Say that you knew nothing about it, but they said under oath that you came with the message that they've been appointed by the Commissioner General, and suddenly you don't know what was going on. So I was going to ask you, so are they lying in saying that you came with the message that they've been appointed by the Commissioner General? And the activities, economic activities, which were being done, where was the money going? Because I'm going back to the Constitution in terms of section 221, subsection 4, which says that the Commissioner General of Police must exercise his or her command in accordance with any general written policy directive given by the minister responsible for police and acting under the authority of the president. So, you know, there is written stuff which is needed from a policy point of view. Board members are appointed without any written letters. The permanent secretaries don't know what is going on pertaining to the operations of the police yet. The police is under Home Affairs. The minister equally doesn't know. So that revenue from diamonds or whatever activities you were doing, where was it going?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We never operated any venture. These were ideas that my section, my division was generating. And the proposal, the list that I gave to the Commissioner General was not for Junior. It was for us to have a board of able people to facilitate the formation and functionalization of these envisaged entities. There was no company. Junior may only got to know about it later. We never formed really any mining venture and started to operationalize it during that time.
You know, retired Commissioner Chidhakwa, we know of the entities you own in terms of hotels, and we will say this because you're a police officer and we know the amount of money which police officers pay, but you have a vast empire of a lot of things which even the Commissioner General with the salary doesn't have. How did you, which business do you run so successfully that generates so much money that you're even richer than ministers, you are richer than even the Deputy Commissioner Generals who are paid more money, even the farming activities? I know you have a farm. We would like to know the crops that you farm, which generate so much money. It is important for this question to be answered. Can you enlighten us on your empire and the source of income?
It's very unfortunate, Chair, but I won't say it's culture. But it's a way of thinking, a school of thought within us, particularly Africans, that if one gets rich, it's either he's a witch and a Chombo or he's a thief. But we can never acknowledge successful initiatives by our fellow brothers and sisters. I am a beneficiary of land reform program. I've got a free piece of land, 155 hectares behind the border there, which I obtained in 2002. And when I embarked on it, it was virgin land, which I started to open up and cultivate. In 2000, from November 2002 to mid-2003, I was the sole supplier of vegetables for this entire 5 Avenue shopping center. Katope, then, which used to export cabbages, I was supplying. And when the era, that's the period when RBC was helping farmers, farm mechanization and other things, and we were giving loans, I applied and benefited extensively, constructed a lot of pigsties. At one time, I had more than 600 pigs. I had 25,000 beds of chickens, which I was pushing out. Because that was hard work, no one was prepared to look. But when prosperity then started to show, obviously malicious people, malicious minds were invited. I would go on and on to tell you how I did it. If this committee is interested, go to Stanbic, go to FBC, you see how much I borrowed. Even when I retired, how heavily indebted I was. It's unfair to just conclude that this one must be a thief without investigating, without finding facts, without even asking the person to open up. But if I explain it to you like this, you say I'm defending myself. No, then how will you get to know the truth?
With due respect, I've given you a chance to kill off the speculation, and I think you have answered well.
Thank you.
The beneficial of land reform, you make chickens, this is your source of income, and I think I'll also embark on chickens as well.
Yes.
what I'm doing here is not sitting here every day. But I'll tell you, I think yes, but what about in terms of the appointments of the commissioners to the board, that you are the one who gave them that good message that they were part of the board?
No, that's not precisely so. I recommended a number of names for the commission to consider for appointments into various boards, and he picked them. But the formation of their company, I was no longer involved. Of that, to appoint them to Ginyame directly, I was not involved. I don't know about that. And the Commissioner General decided not to tell me. And he said so in the presence of Mr. Chidhakwa, who was not even a police officer.
Commissioner General, no one else, the deployment of the troops as officer commanding of support unit into these mining places where officers would be armed. Would you comment on that, please?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and your esteemed committee. I want to confirm that I am retired Commissioner Tanyanyiwa, and when I retired, I was the commissioner responsible for police operations. I came to know about this Ginyame resources as confirmed by my colleagues.
So just seek clarity. So you're working under DCG in terms of operations? That
is very true.
He could give you orders, or the Commissioner General could give you orders?
That is very correct. I could receive orders from the DCG or direct from the Commissioner General. And at the same time, I would liaise with all the officers commanding provinces in all the countries, throughout the country.
So when you receive an order from the Commissioner General of Police, you immediately send that order through to all below you. You don't inform the Commissioner General in charge of all parishes, the DCG.
Whatever I do, I relate it to him. Say, for example, this issue about the deployment of troops in Chiadzwa. I still remember both of us were in Victoria Falls, where we were having a joint permanent commission meeting with our Botswana counterparts. When during the evening I received a call from the Commissioner General, who mistakenly thought that I was in Harare. I informed him that I was in Victoria Falls. And he told me that the Minister of Mines had requested police officers to safeguard ministry officials during a process of takeover of mine by the Minister of Mines. I understood that, and when I came back from Victoria Falls, an operational order, because in the police force you don't just deploy, you write what is called an operational order. You appoint a commander, you appoint structures. So an operational order was actually crafted, and it is on record, and if the records are there, it should be received. The first operation of 2005 was called Operation Audzokwe. But this particular operation was Operation Chengete Zai Upfumi, or Ginani Loto. Ginani Noto. The purpose of this operation was to, in fact, we were briefed that the Ministry of Mines wanted to make sure that all diamond mines are consolidated. And because of the security nature of the program, realizing that if there was a vacuum, the Gwejas would flood in that area and loot everything there. And also the perceived resistance which was likely going to come from the miners, because it was a known fact that they didn't want that consolidation. So the deployment was done. No recruits were ever deployed. In fact, we deployed support unit. We deployed some other members who were picked from various stations, including Morris Depot. The operation was supposed to be well timed, so that all mines would be shut down at one particular time. This was for security reasons. It was to ensure that the resources are well secured, and they had a specific mandate to accompany ministry officials who would go to where the diamonds are stored, where the diamonds will be in the process, provide security there. In the process, they would do nothing more apart from providing security. And this operation was supposed to last for 90 days. Firstly, they would secure the diamonds and all the vulnerable places. And secondly, they would continue providing security up to 30 days. But unfortunately, because of continued insecurity in the area, the operation dragged on and on. Initially, all the police officers who were deployed for the operations were paid traveling and subsistence allowances. And I also wanted to dispute the fact that the officer commanding Manicaland didn't know. One Assistant Commissioner Mudede was based in Manicaland. Initially, he was the commander of the operation, and he was joined by Assistant Commissioner Dube from support unit. So the process went on well on the first day. But word went to the Gwejas to say that all diamond mines had been stopped. Imagine the number of security personnel who were at Anjini. There were many, I don't know how many, but there were many. At Mpada, there were many. There were CCTVs, there were dogs, there were all the gadgets you can think about. For them to know that they've been stopped mining. And so the initial number was, I think, around 200. But because of the pressure of the Gwejas, they quickly mobilized themselves, and within a very short space of time, there were over 10 to 15,000 who were trying to break through and loot the diamond. So we had to call for reinforcements from support unit. So within that operational order, the command structure was very clear, and the commanders are here. Assistant Commissioner Mudede is here, Assistant Commissioner Dube is here, and the details of the operations are very, very, very clear, and they did not have any role of that aspect of saying police officers went there to loot diamonds and things like that. It's my first time to hear about that, but we cannot rule it out. But what I know for certain, there was an incident, I think in Bada, where at one point some security personnel were overpowered, and they managed to get one or two things just before the reinforcement came. So that is what I can say about that operation. It is a well-documented operation. which has got a well-written operational order. After the operational order is drafted, there was an overall commander who is the former Commissioner Ndebele, followed by Anadube. Then after 90 days, the Minister of Mines could not afford to continue paying the allowances. So the police officers there were stuck with no rations, nothing. And the police headquarters had to chip in and provide some rations and also some sort of allowance in order to sustain these people there. So it will be very surprising to see that nearly everyone is saying he doesn't know about this operation. When nearly 400 people are deployed in a particular area, what does human resources you say people are? Where are the money is coming from? Money does not just go to deployed personnel. Myself, I'm saying this with an open mind because I'm now retired. I've got nothing to lose. But the truth of the matter is, I want the truth to be said. Let us say the truth. If we did something wrong, let us confirm we did something wrong. If we did something right, let us confirm that we did something right. This operation was well documented. If you want to go to headquarters, it is on fire that the commanders are here. There was no secret about it. The rank structure, everything, until we had to scale down to this level. There are even documents when they stopped paying my police officers who were on the ground. Because you really know that if police officers are not paid, they are protecting diamonds which are very pricely, and they have got nothing to eat. You know what will happen as officer commanding support unit. I know that the welfare of deployed troops is very, very important. So we had to negotiate and try to remove these people. Up until just, I think about a month before we were retired, that even Ministry of Mines requested for extensions. That is, it requested for extension of those people. And it was approved by the now Commissioner General. So how can you say that people do not know about it? Let us say the truth. We don't want to point fingers. Let us say the truth so that the truth will always set you free. The deployment was there. The names of those deployed are there. The commanders are there. So what are we really afraid of saying? But I really understand why a lot of people may be may not want to say things in front here, because you may be retired in the midnight anytime. You will be retired. So I feel you may put pressure on my bosses, you may do all sorts of things, but that is the fact. Some of us were retired within 12 midnight. You say you are retired. Why? You see? So it's understandable, and the committee must understand it. But I want to confirm, as the one who was directly responsible for police operations, reporting to the Deputy Commissioner General, the deployment was there. It was these people were receiving allowances, transport. Administration was provided transport and the fuel and all those resources. So why should we say that the deployment was not supposed to be there? It's not true. Thank you, Chair.